Ghost story number two. In Stockton Springs on Seaport Avenue, there is a cluster of five houses grouped together on the School Street side. On the other end, on the Station Street side, there are two houses across the road from each other. But this particular ghost story has to do with the second house on the right. It's a two-story, um, and it is a true story, a two-story building, and a true story. My sister Gloria Hall lived in that home for many years with her husband Ralph, who's a Vietnam veteran. Has nothing to do with the story other than setting it up. And my sister Rhonda lived in the house with them for a little while her husband Rick Hutchins, mentioned in the other ghost story, was away at Great Lakes Naval Training Facility. And Rhonda had a downstairs bedroom just off of the dining room. And the downstairs floor was the kitchen, a dining room, Rhonda's bedroom, a living room, and a hallway with a stairway going upstairs where the rest of the family slept. In the room that Rhonda slept in, there are two windows, one pointing out toward the bay and one pointing toward School Street. And sleeping one night, Rhonda sat up, kind of looked at the sill of the window at the foot of the bed, which the window was facing School Street. There was a woman, and she was looking out the bayside facing window. An old lady. Rhonda didn't recognize her. And Rhonda said, Who are you? What are you doing in my room? And the woman looked at Rhonda and just kind of with a disgusted look on her face, stood up and walked out of the room. Just kind of like, what the? So Rhonda started screaming. And Ralph, Gloria, woke up the kids. And Ralph and Gloria came down and they were asking her, what are you screaming about? What is going on? Do you have a bad dream? She goes, there's somebody in the house. And, the story goes on that, they packed my sister Rhonda off to a mental ward, private mental hospital in Bangor. I'm not sure Rhonda wants me to tell this story, but anyway, it's part of the story. So the doctors, they, investigated, talked to my sister's psychiatrist. And when my mother and father went up to check on their daughter, Rhonda, the doctors told my parents that there is no doubt Rhonda believes that she saw what she said she saw. In other words, she wasn't crazy. And everybody else was thinking, yeah, right, ghosts, go on, who are you kidding? Well, since that time, the situation in that home, many times, Gloria and her two children and her husband Ralph would be sitting in the living room watching like Lawrence Welk or something, some wholesome TV show. And singular rocking chair, it was padded, had two cushions, one up, one down, and would start to move a little bit to the music kind of thing. And they were looking at each other like, what the? And Ralph got the idea to change the channel. And when he did, the backrest cushion fell down onto the seat rest cushion, the seat part. And that was their introduction. And they began to believe that what Rhonda saw was very real. After that, there were several instances where Gloria would be doing dishes in the kitchen sink, and she was talking to a friend who was sitting at the table behind her, between the dining room and the sink. And the dishes that Gloria was piling from, having washed and setting them down there to dry, would move, ever so slightly, maybe, a fraction of an inch or half an inch away from the backsplash toward the edge of the counter. And Gloria wasn't noticing it first. It moved a little bit. She put another dish down, and it was further from the backsplash and closer to the edge. And a third plate, and it was moving. She didn't see it move, but it had moved from the last and the second plate that she put down. Third plate she puts down is further. So she thinks nothing of it and just slides them back toward the backsplash. In the fourth and fifth, it was doing it again. So, Gloria's like, come on, stop it, right? Like just telling the old lady, just cut it out. Another time, a friend of Gloria's was sitting at the kitchen table, and she said, Gloria, who's the old lady that you got here staying with you? And Gloria just kind of like rolls her eyes and scoffs, and she goes, oh, that's just, well, we don't know what her name is, but she's here. And it's like, what? So yeah, it was kind of a freaky situation, a ghost story, and they were living with it. She was not a menacing or any kind of problem child. She was just a little bit mischievous, but never did any damage to anybody. So yeah, that house is haunted too.